All right, guys, welcome, welcome. So here I am. We're gonna talk about the body of work, the AVATEMETAVA Framework, and I'm gonna because the work has become quite extensive now, and I've shared some of it on Facebook. Most of it is on Zenodo. It's very kind of scientifically framed, which it's not intended to be. On Facebook, I've been a little kind of more kind of loose. I've not really cared about being very precise because I was like, it's just Facebook. But then a friend asked me for clarification, and I realized like, okay, this is not as clear, and it's important that I kind of structure it properly. So what you have to understand, the AVATEMETAVA framework builds upon self-referencing structures that are self-sustained. Okay, so it also builds upon spiral dynamics, which were integrated in integral theory by Ken Wilber. So it also builds upon the Wilberian model. And this map you see here, the structural map, is the original Wilberian model. As you see, source, brief history of everything, 1996, integral vision, 2007, the religion of tomorrow, 2017. Now, that work was not completed. So what was done was that they reached like tier 2, and then even Ken Wilber, like his intuition was right, but he projected into something that was not mapped. So it was structurally pre-structural, let's say. There were some intuitions that were correct, so he got some things right and some things a little off. But what I've done is I've completed the integral theory. It's still the integral theory, you know what I mean? But now it's called the AVATEMETAVA Framework. So it doesn't exclude anything. It like as you can, if you're familiar with the Wilberian model, you will recognize this. What I've done is like I've actually removed those kind of undefined stuff and projections about God and samsara and all that, and instead like reintroduced a real structural system. So as you can see, like I'm not going to talk so much about tier 1 and 2 because most people are like familiar with this. Like if you're not, please go look up spiral dynamics and integral theory again. They're very useful, but they stop at tier 2, and like in tier 3 Wilber basically says like the end is non-dual and there's nothing after that, which is not true. It was a good kind of it was just a projection basically. He didn't have the framework. He did what he could for his time. It's great. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. That's true. So yeah, but what, and please, like, to understand the AVATEMETAVA framework, you have to look at the papers. Just looking at this map is not, it's a map, basically. If you're out in the woods and you're looking at a map, the map is not the forest. You know what I mean? The forest is the forest, the map is of the forest. It's good, you must have a map, otherwise you get lost. So, but you can't look at the map and go, oh yeah, this is reality. This is not reality. This is a map of the structure of consciousness, okay? So I know precisely why this framework will kind of be dangerous, but if it does so, it's even more important that you read the papers, because orthogonal awakening is seen as sacred, but when you just look at the map, it can be seen as hierarchical. Okay, so I'm also going to add, like, this is I'm in a work in progress. The structure is complete. I'm just going to refine it. So the usual way to perceive hierarchy is a power hierarchy, okay? It's based on exclusion, domination, dominion, all right? This is a wisdom hierarchy. So it doesn't go just vertically, it goes horizontally. This is why the sphere manifests, okay? So the guys from before, they didn't have the kind of experience structure to define this. So it kind of, it was building on the third paradigm. This is a fourth paradigm structure, okay? Everything aligns with Wilber's said, fourth turning. I'm calling it the fourth paradigm. I'm literally just putting words to reality. As you can see, the structural map of consciousness development. This does not talk about who's right, who's wrong, you know what I mean, who's the best, who's not. It's not about that. It's about, this is the structure, look at the structure, everything is allowed, everything is recognized, there's no wrong here. This is here to help you, and this can help you like progress into the tier 4, because that's needed for like the fourth paradigm embodiment, okay? So yeah, my name is Vladimir Antic. Some of you know me, some of you don't. But I go by the title AVATEMETAVA. And if you want to know what AVATEMETAVA is, it's like I call it the omega singularity palindrome, okay? And there is a paper of why. It's a very scientific approach to why this is a omega singularity. And it's actually the kind of ignition for the fourth paradigm. And if I use words here that you find kind of woo-woo, they're not. Like, they're really not woo-woo. This is a structural definition. The fourth paradigm is something real, it's tangible, it's something you can recognize. It's referring to kind of a post-labor. I don't want to say economics, because in the post-labor paradigm, fourth paradigm, you don't really need economics in that sense. The economics are not excluded, but because like labor becomes optional, you know, the money kind of becomes it's not trivial, but it's not non-trivial, but it's something like it's functional. Yeah, that's the word. The money becomes functional. It's transactional. It's a means of kind of exchanging worth. So as intended, the money itself is inherently worthless, but you know, that's why we're kind of rectifying and making right again. We are realigning reality, and we are revitalizing the system. Okay, we're not demolishing anything. As you can see, this is a structurally coherent map. Everything is revitalized, and everything is put in the proper context to serve optimally. Okay, so this is a divine design. Okay, that's the word again. Okay, I'll take that back. This is a structural design that absolutely does not exclude divinity, but it does not make it something that's like out of reach. It actually points back to the self. Like if you see the word avatemetava, temet in Latin means thyself, okay? And because this is a structured symmetric cognition, mode of operation, inclusion, non-exclusion of exclusion, all prior states are recognized, located, and properly distributed in the operational field, which means you're the embodiment of all this, and you're operating from your true psychic self. Okay, so this is the Wilberian definition: synchronicities, telepathy, sensing the field, going with what wants to happen, integral flow. And then I add the true psychic self: structural, systems design, systems reorganization, ignition, direction. You see, and that's precisely what happens. I'm not orthogonal awakening. It's framed with the green letters, you see, because that's the hard color. And again, I'm not the person who's gonna, you know, do the rational kind of exclusion of spirituality. No, absolutely not. I'm a spiritual person, but also am very scientifically minded, and I prefer to have a scientific map that does not exclude stuff. Okay, it includes even exclusion. You see, that's the kind of approach to this. It leaves everything to be as it is, and it says, sure, here, absolutely, you can go in that direction. And here's a way to navigate that direction if you want to have it properly kind of generate the most kind of, let's call it, value for you. So you can use this map to navigate like basically any realm you're in or any stage you're in. So yeah, because the work is now the body work is actually pretty extensive. It like talks about AI and stuff. It solves AI human alignment. The theory is absolutely falsifiable, so it's scientifically valid. And I don't want to make too many claims about it. The structure speaks about it through itself, but also I understand that it kind of removes the rug under everyone's feet and like, oh my god, I didn't see this happen. Does this invalidate me? No, absolutely not. The papers explicitly state tier 3 is sacred. No one is required to leave explicitly. And then I define the modes of operation. There are 4 like main modes of operation in tier 3 that you need to look at. So please, again, I can't say this enough. If you're reading the map, you need to look at the papers. Otherwise, the map is just, it becomes hierarchical. It is hierarchical, but let me define wisdom hierarchy. It's inclusive. Wisdom hierarchy goes like horizontally and vertically, but does not kind of exclude. It embodies. It's based on compassion. So a compassion is compass. It's a compass. You see the word compass. This is syntonic tautology. That is also presented in the work. So something called syntonic tautology, which is used to kind of decode the already self-evident truths that exist in language. Okay, and read the paper Syntonic Tautology to get a further understanding of that. And the word avatemetava itself is syntonic. Okay, syntonic tautology itself explains itself. Ava, thyself, ava. Okay, so it just talks about it itself from all angles. Okay, and leads back to itself as a structure that is coherent. Right. So I hope this helps. I don't want to make it too long. Thank you. I'm Vladimir Natic, AVATEMETAVA, and welcome to the fourth paradigm.